Hi everybody, I'm Travis Hejock. I'm the Information Literacy and Digital Learning Librarian here at Queen's. Today I'm going to show you how to do music therapy research using the library website. So we're going to start at library.queens.edu. That takes us to the library homepage. And before we get started with our research, I want to highlight a couple things. One is that you can always get help from the library by going to Get Help and Ask Us. And then you can find our contact information here. If you've got a general question, you can email everett@queens.edu. You can also find liaison librarians for your department. So that would be me for music therapy. And you can email me or call me or make an appointment with me directly from this page. So we'll go back to the library homepage. And I also want to highlight our research guides. So just below the search bar is a link to those. We have research guides for all the subjects here at Queen's and often for specific classes. You can find all of those on this page, and I'm going to scroll down to music therapy, which we have a guide for. And this gives you an overview about how to do research. So if you get stuck on something and we're not available or you don't want to talk to us, you can check out our research guides for tips on how to move forward. So these are general ideas about where to search for information, like what databases to use, as well as specific journals that publish in this field. So this is a really great resource for you to help you figure out where to go for research, as well as how to evaluate and cite your sources, which we've got links to. So let's go back to the library homepage. And we're going to start doing a search using OneSearch, this main search bar on the library homepage. This search is about 90% of what we have access to, including our physical book collection, academic journals, and often some videos and other types of media. So it's a great place to start because you can find a lot of information there. So I'm going off of a previous student's research proposal for this course. They did a project on music therapy as an intervention for dental anxiety. So I'm going to put in those search terms and run a search. So this returned 76 results, which is a pretty manageable amount. We could go through this without having to take too much time, but we can also use these filters here to make sure we're getting exactly what we need. So we probably don't need things like newsletters or newspaper articles. So I'm just going to limit this to journal articles. And if we wanted to just get things from a specific time period, we can use these filters here. So if I just want things that are really recent, the last 3 years, I can make that choice. And now we've narrowed down our results to an even more manageable 19 results. So if I click on one of these titles, often it will take me directly to it, to the electronic version, especially for open access articles that are freely available online. And I can read that online here. If I go back to my search results, I'm going to check out an article that's only available through a paid subscription. So we can see that this is taking us now to the Journal of Dental Sciences, which we have a subscription to, and we can either read it online here. It gives us a kind of snapshot of the entire article as well as the full article below. You can also view the PDF, which is often a little bit easier to read. And when you read journal articles, before you just dive into the whole thing, it's usually helpful to read the abstract first. The abstract is just a summary of the article, so you can see whether it's going to be relevant for your research interests before you dive into the whole thing. And additionally, with the library website, we offer tools so that you can organize your research. So you can mark items so that you can come back to it later. This feature is just tied to the session that you're in currently, so you want to make sure to email that or save any of those citations before you exit the library website so that you can access those later. You can also just copy the permalink, which will enable you to come back to this specific result even after you've left the session. If you try to copy just like the URL here, it's not going to work when you come back to it because it's tied to your specific session. But using that permalink will work. You can also generate a citation from here and choose which style guide you need to use. With music therapy, it's going to be APA. And then you can just copy and paste this for your own paper or for your research journal, which I would highly recommend taking notes on your sources as you go along. It'll make it much easier for you to organize those sources and know how you're going to use each one rather than having to remember just based on the title what point you're going to support with each article. Something else I want to highlight with the library website is we have different ways for you to search. So if you go to options up here, right now I'm just searching for these terms in all of the fields. But if I want articles that are really focused on these things, which is usually the case, and I'm getting too many results, I can limit these to the title, which is often a really effective way of ensuring that your results are very relevant to what you need. If it's in the title, it's likely a main topic. So if I move that to the title, we had 76 results before. Now we just have 2 results. So we can see that these are going to be really relevant to our research. For this particular search, that probably isn't necessary, but this demonstrates how iterative the search process is. Your first strategy is usually not going to be sufficient, and you're going to have to try different things as you go along. There's something else that I want to highlight with this. I see one of these results mentions aromatherapy. If I am not interested in that, I'm only interested in music therapy, there are ways that I can edit my search to make sure that I'm not getting results that might have concepts that are irrelevant to my research. So I'm going to remove that filter, and I can add something else here. We've got these different operators that will affect how the system looks for our search terms. So I'm going to add a not operator and add in aromatherapy. So now it's going to exclude any results that have that term. And now we've eliminated those results that include that. Something else to highlight is that when we added that not operator into our search, the system did something interesting. It put parentheses around my original search terms. And what it's doing is grouping these things together. So when there's not an operator, it's just an implied and, which means it's saying I'm looking for music and therapy and dental and anxiety. All of these things, and then not everything that comes after that. That's also in a set of parentheses. If I needed to expand my search, so I don't just want to look for music therapy, I can put these in their own parentheses, and let's add or music intervention. So now we're going to expand our results. We've got 14 right now, and I'm going to rerun this search. And we got a lot more results. So this one didn't pop up earlier, but it seems very relevant. And then I can see this one doesn't mention music therapy at all. So it has music and intervention here. So sometimes researchers use different terms to describe the same concept. Using these search operators, adding in synonyms, can expand your search query so that you'll find more results, and that will still be relevant. So that is all that I'm going to highlight right now about using the library website. A lot of these search strategies apply on different platforms. We can talk more about those in class as well as in the next video on using PsycInfo. But again, I'm Travis with the library here at Queens, and thank you for joining me.